Sassy. 5 present, 2 absent.
Okay, how's that? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, it's great to see everybody. I'm glad we're back here in the legislative chambers and hope everybody's been safe and healthy. So we have a very short agenda here, very important though. It's always great to see Commissioner Miller and Todd here today. So Darcy Miller, our Commissioner of Social Services, is going to present her monthly report. If you looked over the report, I'm sure you did, you'll see things are remaining pretty much consistent, but I will let the experts go through it for you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It's so good to be in the same room with all of you again, even if you're making me use a microphone. So we'll just go through, our temporary assistance numbers, as you said, they continue to be down, they continue to go down, and we appreciate, I think some people have received their child tax credits, and that is helping households to really move out of poverty for some families. And, I think we'll continue to see a lower caseload during these times where this additional funding is coming in. We know employment expanded benefit ends in September, I believe. When that happens, we expect to see some increased need for help among our population, and we are prepared to respond to that. Employment is still a challenge. Workforce is a challenge across the system, and we appreciate that the state has put some of the federal dollars into hiring bonuses for workforce, and we hope to see that we have additional direct service providers available in place. Supplemental nutritional assistance, we have an increase shown up in May, and we're really beginning June numbers, and we're thinking, according to Todd's estimate, that this may be a fluke. That has more to do with somebody not closing cases before the end of the month, rather than the significant increase that it shows here. But we also had a period of time with a very high volume of applications, and our staff had to work a great deal of additional hours in order to address that high volume. So we may have seen an increase in case openings. HEAP, we're still, making payments. We'll get close to, and we in fact are close to the end of, the payments made out for HEAP. And as you can see through May, I have my glasses on, I can't see that number. $5,436,991 for the year of 2020, 2021. A little lower than previous years, which is interesting. So we'll see if that number increases as we continue to calculate those payments for that year, that time period. Our homeless numbers continue to be down. We are, challenged with all of our providers as you look through the providers of our temporary housing services. Their utilization is down. We've had to increase daily rates in order to keep them whole and operating, as we know that the eviction moratorium will be lifted. The New York State eviction moratorium will be lifted at the end of August. We have an update for you as far as the emergency rental assistance programming. As you know, County Executive Newhouse chose and you all approved for us to accept the funds directly, and then also agreed that we would transfer those funds over to New York State for them to process that emergency rental assistance program for us. That left us with approximately $22 million that will be dedicated to Orange County residents to pay 12 months in arrears for rental assistance, 3 months prospective, and utility arrears for those who are eligible for rental arrears. So we get about every couple of days from New York State Office of Temporary Disability Assistance vendor a total number of applications that were received from Orange County. And I can you all, if you're interested in having the breakdown, Todd adds to that breakdown the zip codes and the municipality that each of these applications originated from, and that might be helpful for you to have for your district. So I can forward that over instead of, I was going to make copies for you all before I left the office, but it might be just as easy to send it to you electronically. So far we have submitted over 1,500 applications for Orange County. We don't know how many months in arrears they're looking for. We don't know. We do know that many of them have asked for the 3 months perspective, and many of them do have utility arrears that they're requesting as well. When we do a quick estimate of, say, 1,500 applications times $1,000 rent per month times 12 months in arrears, it comes up to a little over $17 million. If the requests that received are anywhere near that, we really are doing a good job of getting these applications in and potentially bringing the full 22 million to Orange County, which is our goal. We don't want to see any of the money that was meant for Orange County residents going to another community if we still have need here in this county. Unfortunately, guess on our part, until the state is able to give us the request amounts connected with each of those applications and the approval rates of those applications that are submitted, we really don't have any sense of how much of the money that's dedicated for this county is actually coming back. They are not able to do that for us at this point, coming out regarding them not having put any money out into the system yet. We'll continue to monitor. I know they're working hard with their vendor, and I will still tell you, while I think the best decision to go with New York State to administer this, it is a big undertaking. Us managing 1,500 to 2,000 patients and reaching out to the community and responding to the feds would have been a big lift for us here in this county. So we'll just kind of continue to put the pressure on New York State and appreciate that they're working hard and accepting all the criticism, while hopefully our residents will reap the benefits. We have staff through 311, through our temporary assistants. Terry Torchio is our lead on this. She's our Director of Economic Development. We're out at farmers markets and libraries and fairs. We're doing marketing, sending mailings, really working hard to make sure that everyone who has this need in the county is aware. If you need any information to put out on your social media sites, or have anyone in your community that comes to you that's looking for help, please make sure you send them our way. We don't want to miss anyone who has this need. Not only does it help our residents, but it helps our landlords, our small business operators to be made whole. So that is the update on the, before I move back to the report.
Commissioner, I had someone ask me, they had someone that took off on them, a landlord, and I think he was owed back rent and all that. Is someone like that eligible if the tenant took off on the landlord?
Well, we would need the tenant cooperation because it is a tenant eligibility program. What I would suggest is that you have this individual either call 311 here locally or call the New York State number to ask the question. Because if we can find the tenant and she are willing to put their portion of the information in,
Yep.
It's a potential. The challenge is it's supposed to maintain stable living and prevent homelessness. So if the person's already out of the apartment,
And the landlord doesn't know where he went to.
no, the landlord program. It's really a tenant-based program.
Okay, thank you.
In keeping, in that line of questioning, I have a landlord in my community that the tenant refuses to go and get assistance. The tenant really doesn't need assistance, but they can't evict them because of the moratorium that's there and haven't received rent in over 7 months, 7 or 8 months. And the guy just basically uses a lot of derogatory remarks towards the landlord.
What I would say to that, he's still living there and the landlord is eligible to begin the application. I would suggest that they go to the New York State website and begin their landlord portion of the application, and then, they can work together with our department for us to reach out to the tenant to try to get cooperation. We realize that's going to happen, and that tenants and landlords have some tension between them, especially if non-payments happen for 7 months and beyond.
Yeah.
We will gladly assist to try to be the third party to connect them.
Okay.
So the landlord can get paid.
Great, I'll let that land.
You can even have the landlord call 311 first so we can begin the local assistance and plan to help him get the tenant. It may not work, but at least we can try.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so we know that when that moratorium lifts, we're going to be struggling with homeless. So our providers are ready and raring to go. We don't have a need for expanding right now. Our utilization rates are low.
No, I'm saying in anticipation of the moratorium lifting, do we have a game plan in place for expansion or for what to do? I know there's definitely resistance in some neighborhoods. I see what's going on down on Island with that family housing unit that they wanted to put in, and residents are against it.
I would say that at this point, we have our temporary housing options, and we'll temporary house anyone who qualifies, who comes to us for help, and we have capacity within our temporary housing system. Overflow, as you know, we always use local motels and hotels. Currently, I think we have 4 singles in motels. We've gone as high as 20 families and 15 singles in motels, so we can use that as our contingency plan. My position has been, and I think supported by many stakeholders, we don't want to create more temporary housing options. We want to create more permanent housing options, which is what you're talking about. I had the pleasure of being at department heads meeting this morning and hearing Nicole from Community Development talk about some of the home dollars they received and some of the competitive applications that have been coming in. So those are the kind of projects we want to support long-term for affordable housing options. So I think, at the end of the day, we've learned through this pandemic and through the moratorium, our homeless numbers go down drastically when people aren't being evicted. So that just tells you that eviction leads to situational homelessness, right? And then we're quickly trying to get back in. The other thing is, as we're trying to house people permanently, the housing market is saturated. You get an apartment and, if you're not walking through that door with a clean background and cash in hand, available apartment, being in real estate, it's gone. So we need more housing, affordable housing options, workforce housing options throughout the county in order to keep our homeless numbers down. So there's some good projects in the works. Sure. We received an updated report November 2020. Our total number receiving Medicaid in the county, 119,436. That number continues to rise. Every quarter we receive them, and we expect during the pandemic that it would. Throughout the pandemic, we were relieved of our responsibility of doing recertifications for those who are receiving Medicaid. That waiver has been lifted, and we will be going back to doing recertifications. So we might see this number reduce as people need to reestablish eligibility through recertification. It was very helpful for our staff and for the community throughout the worst parts of the pandemic to have that waiver in place. Child Protective Services, we continue as our numbers were pretty high in May, again, for Child Protective Service, which is typical. As the school year closes, we end up getting more referrals. We anticipate as children go back to school in the fall, we're going to see an increase there as well. But our staff are doing well at responding to the needs of children and maintaining safety in the community. Raise the age, again, no changes there. I will tell you that our staff that have been collaborating between probation, mental health, and social services, we're beginning to look at co-location again now that we can be in close proximity to each other. We found that their shared expertise has really been excellent at being the front door to young people involved in the juvenile justice system, keeping them in our community, and having better long-term outcomes. So we're excited the work they've done virtually and looking forward to them being co-located in the future. Adult Protective Service and home care, I think probably the greatest challenges we're seeing there is certainly the direct service providers and the limited number of them. Raised again, as we've talked, I think about here, using technology to replace workforce as some other countries have done. And, they're looking at it in New York State too. Some things you can do realistically, others cannot. People can't be replaced with technology fully. So, we really need desperately to have more people going to the field of work. Our child support numbers can maintain consistency, and Special Investigations Unit is back to working hard and out in the community doing field work and evaluations. And that is the close of the report.
Thank you, Commissioner. Does anyone have any further questions on the report? Okay, seeing none, I will call for a motion to adjourn. Yes, go ahead, Legislator Tui. Peter, please turn your mic on. It's being streamed.
We're having a Hope Not Handcuffs, we had discussed the Black Poster Project. So we're all set to have that in Monroe on August 7th from 1 to 5 p.m., right down in between the Mill Pond there on Lake Street. I got a flyer, so I sent that down to the office and asked Kerry to send it out to all legislators. Commissioner, I'm not sure if you've seen that yet, but if I did, please feel free to share it. And I saw something in the news last week that the past year, 93,000 deaths across the country. I know that, from what I understand, our numbers are up greatly here in Orange County too. Do we have a number on that for 2020 or how it's progressing this year?
Yes, we do have a number on that, and the number that we track through OD MAP and the number from the medical examiner's office, it doesn't match. So I just would like to confirm for you the medical examiner's number, which is the number that Dr. Gelman would like us to use. I could give you a guess off the top of my head, but I'd rather give you the exact number, and I'll send it to you. I will tell you, and I think you'll be excited by this, we were able, with some change in state funding and match funding, we were able, through the Department of Mental Health, to dedicate some money to Hope Not Handcuffs, which has really been a grassroots effort that you all gave $10,000 to for marketing, that has gotten some grant funds, but through the Department of Mental Health to go into contract with them to fund some positions because they're doing awesome work, and they really are expanding their work with a pre-arrest diversion effort as well. So.
Yeah.
I think you all know them, you support them, over 500 angels that you buy with a very little bit of county dollars. So
Yeah.
we're excited to be expanding our work with them.
Send that to Doreen and she can send out to all legislators. That'd be
Perfect, that's great.
the
Will do. The numbers, I'll send you the numbers, absolutely.
chairman.
Great, thank you. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Lori Tortel, seconded by Tui. Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great afternoon. 4 o'clock is health and mental health. Thank you.